But yeah, man. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but this is I try to keep this podcast to be a motivational podcast, and I try to give the audience as much advice because I know that a lot of my audience are jiu-jitsu guys or people striving to be better. And like the original idea of this podcast was a warrior podcast. Like I just wanted to interview other like-minded warriors. That was my original thing. And so obviously you're at I would argue that you're at the pinnacle of, being what a man is and accomplishing things. So
Thank you.
what would be your piece of advice for someone who's looking to make a change in their life or maybe strive for the better? What would you say?
Well, that's a great question. And there's tons of ways to answer that. I would say the answer that I have that resonates with me more recently would just be being able to distinguish what doubt is within your mind and being able to have an actual strategy in place to bypass that or get over it or acknowledge it, but then actually use it to actually create some sort of a positive gain from it. We all go through doubt. And for me, for a long time, that was just the doubt of being able to verbalize my goals or vocalize my goals to my parents or my closest friends or the random guy at the gym that asked me what I'm doing today, that type of thing. I noticed shortly after I got over those fears and started owning my future visions and goals in front of anybody, I started to see a lot of things come to fruition for myself. Nowadays, I'm very confident in my ability to use words and manifest things for myself and my friends. So that's actually like something I almost delusionally call my own superpower. But even still to this day, I 100% face instances of doubt, of self-doubt in regards to, some of my bigger goals. It's like, what if, time's ticking, like you got to work harder, you got to keep working harder. Are you working hard enough? That type of thing. What if that big opportunity or break doesn't come? All those thoughts come through my head. And I think the biggest thing with that is that it's normal to have that doubt, but to be able to, as I talked about, be able to analyze it and like depict it and use it for something positive. And so for me, whenever I feel that, it really, truly, even though it sounds cheesy, just turns into fuel and motivation to continue to working towards the goal and take each day, one day at a time, before you know it, a year goes by and then look how far you come. So really, in regards to being a man or a formidable adult or anything, really, anybody that's goal chasing, you're going to have doubt. Be able to have a system around when doubt comes into your mind and then use it for something positive in your pursuit for better greatness. That's what I would say. And it is a general answer, but to me, it's very powerful because doubt could be a bunch of different things and it could come from a million different places. For me, it comes internally from the fear of not following through with my own word, not being able to create careers for my friends, not being able to be a superhero to millions of kids, not being able to be a formidable husband to a wife at some point, not being able to take care of my parents. These are the fears that kind of go through my head because I basically put my name down on this invisible contract that says my life is dedicated to this. And if I fall anywhere short, I am a failure. And it's kind of crazy and it's kind of delusional, but at the same time, it's kind of that delusion that allows me to chase something so freely and believe that I can truly do it for myself. And anything can happen. I could not. But at the same time, I'm going to have full confidence that I put everything I have into this goal. So if I were to just die tomorrow, I die very happy and confident that I chased my goals with everything I had. That's my general mindset behind this. And I think that can do a lot for a lot of different people, regardless of whatever goal you have in life.
Yeah, dude, no, that was money. Being a coach, I've been coaching jiu-jitsu for like 10 years, martial arts anyway. And one of the number one things you figure out, and I've been in this, creative space too. So I've helped out non-athletes, like try to come up with podcasts and things like that. So I've also dealt with like a lot of creative coaching as well. And one of the number one things you realize is that everyone has this doubt. And a lot of the times the doubt will be the same amongst like multiple people.
Yeah.
So like one that I'll deal with consistently is age. The number of people is like, man, I think I'm too old or this. And that one strikes so home because I remember thinking the same thing. When I started at like 20 or 21, I was like, I always wish I just started sooner, Yeah, but the fear of age is imaginary. And I remember one of my first fights, man, it was a good fight, but the dude just like fundamentally he didn't want to grapple or strike me, but he kept taking me down. And he just like, as soon as we'd get to the grappling exchange, he let go, put me down again. And it was pancrase, so there were points.
Gotcha.
And anyway, I lost a match, and he was like, I want to say 29 or 30s. He was at least a decade older than me. And I remember being like, man, he's like, I brought something up about the age. I was just like, man, you're so much older than me. I figured you've been training for so long.
Right.
And he was like, dude, I'm actually terrified of you. He's like, I'm scared of the young guys. He's like,
Wow.
you're in a huge advantage right now.
Right.
You know, your body's young. And it just like, I remember him telling me that like I was afraid of him because he was older, but he said he was completely terrified of me because I was so young.
Right.
And, you know, just through the years, I met so many people with the exact same fear that they're too old. And it's like, again, that age thing is just this imaginary thing that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that time is going to pass by anyway. I had a cousin, one of my cousins, he joined the Marine Corps just like I did. And now I'm trying to convince him to do jujitsu. And he was like, you don't think I'm too old? And he's only like 28 or something, 26, 20. I was like, dude, you could be 36 and be a black belt.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you won't even be at your max yet.
No.
You know, and I'll meet people and they'll be like, show me pictures of them like 8 years ago. And like, that was me. And I'm 36 now, or I'm 37. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're not even halfway, dog.
Right.
You aren't even halfway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I really think that, you know, not to keep sucking off Joe Rogan here, but man, he at 55, he could murder people. In a gym. He could show up and just be rolling and just murder everyone. And that's what I want. I want to be 50, 60. Man, I got to roll with Hugo Dort, who's a Core Belt legend, and he is still rolling.
That's awesome.
You know, he don't come after you. He kind of like lays aside control and lets you work from there. But man, if I could be 70s and still getting on the mats and passing information, that would be like an unimaginable blessing.
That's
so
huge. Yeah.
yeah, just back to what you're saying about doubt and how it can come in so many forms. You know, well, even with the creative thing, the number one creative block that I see that people will make up is this idea of whatever they imagine in their head has to be like what comes out.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that you will never, whatever you're imagining in your head won't be what it is. And so you might as well just do it and let reality work out for itself.
Yeah.
And I'll be coaching people through this, and I'll still be doing that to myself.
Yeah.
You know, all my other ideas were like, oh, well, you know, how am I going to do it? I don't even know what to say or whatever. And then it occurs to me as like, quit planning out what you're going to say and just say it.
Yeah.
Because only by saying it and messing it up will you figure out where to adjust to the left and right. But yeah, I'll be working with people and trying to help them get their podcast started or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it should be like this. And I'm like, buddy, we gotta make it one thing.
Yeah.
We gotta make it one thing and just do that. And then we can grow from there.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point.